to Creative Currency number 8 with our amazing friend and incredibly talented artist, singer-songwriter, influencer, and brand strategist, Victoria Prince. Great to see you, Victoria.
Thanks for having me.
It's amazing how close we live to each other, and we are hardly seeing each other, though we have had two opportunities. I noticed after that lunch that you and Jax stayed to do some content.
Yeah, we actually started a business together. She brought me onto her team. I'm flying to Atlanta on Thursday of next week to do consulting for her business. And it's like, it was just very aligned. So it worked itself out.
That's amazing. This is technically Creative Currency number 8, so it's an honor, and 8 is often, represents infinity. And as a talent in so many ways, your capacity as a friend and an entertainer, those capacities are infinite,
Thank
Victoria.
you.
It's great to reciprocate because you had me on your new podcast. What's that called again?
Text your bestie, but actually, we're moving in a different direction now. Things happen fast.
All right, but I was appreciative that we were able to grab that clip where I mentioned Captain Obvious
Hmm.
because of the old slogan of Writers Boot Camp being the secret to writing is writing, which seems rather obvious, but it was irreverent at the time, 37 years ago. So that was fun to do. Plus, I got to see my favorite friend Enzo Ferrari, who
Prince.
I have to turn off my email. It's making noise. But can you just talk about Enzo a bit?
So I have a 5 pound poodle. He's 6 pounds now. He's been eating a lot, but he's 2.5, and he made $5,000 his first month on social media.
Was this after you arranged his little area with the picture frames,
That's what kind
or
of prompted it.
like the family portraits?
Yeah, I made him a gallery wall with a couch, a little mirror, a little Persian rug. And that was just like a fun little thing that I just wanted to do for him. And I was like, obviously, everything is content. So I printed out little pictures of him and his whole family and his favorite dog friends. And I just framed them and put them up. It maybe took an hour and it went super viral. And I was like, well, dog content is so fun. And I've been a creator for 20 years, so I might as well.
Was that a separate handle? A separate
Yes,
account?
it's Enzo Prince the pup.
Oh my God. So, one thing not everyone knows about you beyond your following on social media is that you have a deep veteran level background as a singer songwriter.
Correct.
And then you went through Writers Boot Camp recently, so technically you're an alumnus. But can you talk about the distraction that led to productivity in spite of not focusing on the script?
Um, I think every time I sat down to write for my hours, because I'm a very efficient with my time, I was like, there's no way that I'm going to write 10 hours a week, low key. I don't have the attention span for it, but I work so diligently. I was like, as soon as I would sit down, I didn't want to start something that I knew wasn't going to be monetizable in the end. So I didn't want to actually write a script, but I wanted the motivation and inspiration and the assignment of writing. So I would sit down and I would do my homework, and then I would be like already with my notepad ready to write something. So I would just be writing song lyrics, things that inspired me, short stories that I then turned into get ready with me's. So the act of writing is what helped me to finish my album. And it's actually a funny story. Yesterday, I had an event on a yacht, and usually my boyfriend is my plus one, but he's on a soccer training camp. He's an athlete, so he's gone. So I called my producer, Holt, who's also my videographer, who you
Love
interviewed
Holt.
him.
He was, I think, Creative Currency number 5.
And so I was like, hey, do you want to go on this yacht and just like low key shoot a music video for Yacht Girl Summer, which was a song that I wrote while I was in writer's boot camp. And it was just like a joke. So the lesson that I gathered was it doesn't matter if you are just writing whatever, because yesterday we made probably the best music video we've ever made. And it only took just like a few clips casually through the boat, 3 takes of me singing the song, and then we're going to release it tomorrow on my YouTube. And
Wow.
it's so funny because I that was just you end up creating. The secret to creating is creating.
Nice. And I want to get to that philosophy too, because it's important, especially based on learning from you and Holt and how you both and each separately and together, you know, approach content and social. But the wild thing, I'm just wondering if I should be offended that I wasn't, even though you know I don't like boats, that I wasn't included in that video.
There's no way I would
Because
have gotten you.
because I was in the what was the name of the song that you
West
included me?
Side. It
West
was West
Side.
Side.
Yes, I've lived on the west side of LA for many, many years. When I first met you, and I don't think this is too much tea, but I commented on the uniqueness of your Mercedes because it's not typical. And your response was, instead of getting into the tech and the specs of it, you just said, I got rich on TikTok. So can you describe how you first started posting and what that led to? And then I want to segue to a few things about posting, about formats, the trending formats, because you just mentioned Get Ready With Me, you know, which always shows up as GRWM, which
Mhm.
is not an easy acronym to say anyway. But what were your first posts like? How were you motivated? And then what was the jump?
Okay, first of all, this is a great story, and I need to tell it in a storytelling way. I moved to LA because I was number one in fashion. And I moved to Venice after a situationship showed me Venice when I was living in West Hollywood, and I hated West Hollywood. So I move into this new place and I'm living there by myself, and I'm just trying to meet people, and it's hard in LA. Networking is a challenge. So I tell my landlord, make sure whoever moves in is cool. And he goes, all right, I think I have someone. And my neighbor is now Jeff Gordon. So the first time that I met him, I was picking up my DoorDash, which they accidentally dropped off on his porch, and I was wearing a big MTV extra extra L t-shirt with house slippers and a face mask on. He looks at me, he goes, "You're so confident."
Right, because you weren't self-conscious at all.
Yeah. And so I just go back upstairs and I'm like, great. He thinks I'm this like dumb little LA influencer. So the next time I see you, I pull into the driveway. There he is. I'm in my Mercedes. And that's why I softened the perception of me with the fact that I got rich on TikTok. So
Yes.
that was the meaning of that. That was the
But you're
purpose of
so
that.
quick-witted, like you even knew that you were preserving a kind of persona or disposition because I just thought you were an interesting person.
Yeah, because I had a negative experience meeting a lot of influencers in LA, I just didn't want to be perceived that way.
Right.
And so I
Well,
think
we're both born in May, so that helps.
the tourist vibe. So we clicked immediately. But back to your question, I have been a creator since MySpace. So
Hmm.
I'm also 10 years older than most of the people at my level as an influencer in LA, in the spaces that I'm in. So I have a lot of experience in marketing, e-commerce, storytelling because I'm a songwriter, and years of speaking to the camera as if I'm on FaceTime with my best friend. So all of those skills combined created the perfect job, made me the perfect person for the job that I have now. So when I started posting in 2019, I kind of just I've always had this delusion that I'm going to live a bigger life than I was born into because I was born into poverty. And being born into poverty gave me the people skills and the confidence and the grit and the work ethic that I needed to surpass people who were living a more privileged life. Not to say that people who are more privileged can't be successful in the space, because there are many of us, but, or them, I just feel that I didn't have any other choice. So I had to look at it very differently in that I have to build something for myself. And if I'm going to spend all this time and invest all this time into this, I'm going to do it well. So I just
Hmm.
went in posting 5 videos a day, and I grew my following to 400,000 followers when TikTok Shop launched. And they gave me access to something called the beta program, where they were like, here's this feature. I didn't have any information on it. I just knew that I was able to link products. And I knew how to go viral, and I knew my audience well. So I just started posting things that I knew they would want to buy. And
How did you grow your audience? How did you connect with your audience? How did you know your audience? How much direct communication did you have? Was it just through comments?
it was pretty much building my brand story by learning how to create content, utilizing the platform in the way to tell the story of my life. So
So how did you create content? How did you learn what content was at the beginning, and did it stay the same because it was about the transparency of your experiences and that direct rapport? Not everybody has your charm, but also almost in a positive way, a lack of shame.
right.
You're just able to transmit directly. I think Sir Anthony Hopkins calls himself a transmitter as an actor. He's emotionally available. He's there for the other people. But when you're speaking to the camera, what gave you that comfort?
Well, in the beginning it was just trends and little storytelling, how to declutter your house, basically anything that I felt like creating. And then I would just create a series based on what was successful. Because if we go back to 2020, it was all dancing, trends. People were bored in the house. That was like a very, very trending audio, bored in the house. And so if if I were posting content that was trending in 2020 now, it would go nowhere. Now,
Hmm.
trending content is talking head videos or literally speaking to the camera and creating this story for people to follow as if you're a reality TV star.
And so, your reality, what are some of the traits of your persona and creative voice?
Well, I have several series that are active. I had an agency ask me, like, if we were going to pitch you to brands, what kind of series could you integrate their products into naturally? So that's what brands want now, because very salesy ads no longer convert, because now we're in the time of something called shoppertainment, where you don't realize that you're watching a commercial. You're just watching a girl getting ready, and you're wondering what concealer she's wearing. You want to know. At the end of the video, you're going to find out how to find the link.
What's an example of a product like that where you directly contributed to significant sales?
I put these pants on and I said, these
It's
are
just
the
funny. It's just a funny comment. Though just the way you say that.
And I just said a moment for how stretchy these are, because they look like slacks, but they feel like pajamas.
Okay.
If you are
Well,
sitting
weren't
at
those called jeggies or something?
no, that's a different product. But these are the bit I coined the term business casual baddie slacks.
Batty.
So it's like, no one wants to look like a Karen, and nobody wants to sit in jeans or slacks the entire day. No one wants to iron their pants if they're working a 9 to 5. And you want to be comfortable, but also look professional. It's a great product. So why don't I put it in front of my audience? And I use the hook by standing there and stretching the pants. That was the hook. It was a visual hook. And it's like, you don't see pants like that. But the funny thing is you do, but in old folks' homes. So I learned this in the comment section. There were nurses that works in old folks' homes. I don't know what the proper term for that is now because that's what I grew up
Ass-
to know.
Assisted living or
Yes.
retirement homes. Yeah.
And people would actually bully me in the comment section. They would say, "These are some geriatric pants." And I would be like, "You know what? That's true. Like I think the old man from Up is using these pants."
Oh my
But
God.
that is proof that you can market an existing product to the right audience and make a lot of money.
Why do people buy through you? Is it a projection or a desire for a certain lifestyle that you represent?
Well, I would say a very small percentage of purchases, like actually click through rates, are my organic audience. The rest of the audience is actually just traffic provided by the brands. But the content is so digestible because I'm making it for my audience. And then the
Right.
brand can then purchase it and put it in front of the world.
So are these decisions that you're making consciously, or they just are based in who you are and you don't have to think about them too much and you don't edit too much, right?
I would say a mixture of both because if I hired an editor, which I don't like to have a short form video editor because I know that I can take one video and rearrange it and cut it down in a way that feels natural and post it immediately. Whereas an editor might come in and edit the very same video and not make a converting ad that feels natural or in the style that I actually speak.
Based on what main issues or factors? Overthinking it, cutting it down too much.
Spending too much
Um,
time, not being able to meet the deadline because I'm a procrastinator and I work type B. And if I have a brand deal due today, I'm going to film, edit, and post it today. And I don't
right.
have time to wait for someone else to do it. If I pay someone else to do a job for me, then I'm wasting their time and my money because
Yeah.
I can do it way faster and way more efficiently.
So how did TikTok Shop for You grow, and what's your view of how certain platforms are continuing to evolve and change? Were you worried for a while because of the China issue and the divesting of TikTok?
Well, yeah, because when it got banned for 24 hours, I was crying in the club. I was down bad. I was like, I lost my
Wait,
entire
don't you call
community.
that crashing out?
Yes, 100%. Which is another song I wrote during writers boot camp.
Right. I remember that. So what's changing, or what? How do you look at this? And then I want to segue to some insight and advice for filmmakers, writers, artists, actors, content creators. But
Well,
how is the landscape evolving?
okay, here's an example. And I don't know the statistics, but look at the one of the biggest pop stars in the world, Madonna. She has been able to stay relevant somehow, some way for how many decades now? I don't even know. Longer than I've been alive.
Since the 80s?
And what have we seen? In the beginning, she was an activist and she was doing things that no one had ever done. And we still to this day have pop stars that are trying to replicate that type of activism. But she was able to change her music style, the way she dresses, the way she presents, and just stay relevant, regardless of the platform. If you look at the biggest stars in the world, they're not relying on a platform to stay relevant. They are the platform. So there's a huge amount of creators that cling to the platform they're on and that they are not going to make it in in the long run. Because I'm already thinking, I'm waiting. I'm sitting here waiting. TikTok sold in the US. US literally is ruining the platform, driving it into the ground. And I'm waiting for China's next app to drop with all of the new features, whatever they need to do. There's going to be the next best app. I was viral on Periscope, which was the first live streaming app. I had over 1 million hearts. I was huge on there. They got bought out by another streaming service, got shut down, deleted. Same thing happened to Vine. Instagram sold to Facebook. Meta ruined Instagram. All of these problems are going
Well, I
to be
mean, but
reoccurring.
you rely on Instagram significantly, right?
No, Instagram is a very small portion of my income.
Interesting.
The majority of my income comes directly from brands and also from whitelisting fees. So brands paying me to run ads using videos that I've already posted.
And so, what does waitlist actually mean in that? Is that what waitlist means?
Whitelisting means that the
Oh,
brand, yeah,
whitelisting.
yeah.
Okay.
The brand just takes your video and runs it and makes money off
They
of it.
make it their own,
Correct.
but
Or they just
they don't change it, or do they add brand graphics?
they typically don't change my ads. No, because I
Okay.
think that again, people would rather see a video from a creator's profile than a brand's profile because they want to be tricked into thinking that
Okay.
tricked into shopping. And this is one thing that I've noticed. I don't really watch TV and I got suckered into watching Love Island this year as a social experiment. And I found that if I'm going to spend my time doing anything, I'm going to monetize it first of all. But I found that when I started doing Love Island hot takes, I had a lot of traffic on my page because my demographic watches Love Island. So that's just like a business move that I made.
And that was just something you thought of creatively, where you would make a comment about a character or a part of the arc of this of where the show was going, and then your people would comment and maybe repost or watch toward your next posting.
Right. And that's where I think a big problem that I see in the industry is ego, where people are like, "Oh, I'm not going to post that. I'm not going to talk about Love Island like that. Like only people with low IQ watch reality television." Well, sir, I got 300,000 views on a 3-minute video of me talking about my first time watching Love Island. And what did I do? I carried that through the series and it brought me a significant amount of traffic. So who's the one with the low IQ here?
And well, nobody is saying that you have a low IQ. You know,
But
what was the old adage in the entertainment industry? No one ever lost money underestimating the intelligence of the American public.
right.
I'm not saying I believe that, because I think audiences are savvy. For somebody new, and I just have a few more things as we're keeping these relatively brief. We can go over a few minutes if there's something fun. For somebody new, and you say, I got a lot of traffic, or I made more money or less money from a certain platform, how does the rev share work these days for a TikTok situation or Instagram or YouTube?
Well, if I'm thinking of it in the old way, all press is good press. So any viral video is going to bring you more traffic and more followers. That one video brought me, I think, 6,000 followers that may or may not shop, but the follower count matters when looking at demographics to pitch to brands. So your following does matter in the way that you get more credibility.
So
It
there are at
doesn't
least
mean
so there are at least two silos at the core for your revenue. One is brand sponsorship based on followers, based on what they feel you bring to their products and services. And then from the platforms, you get some kind of, viewership and percentage of ad revenue, right? Or whatever revenue the platform is making, right?
correct.
What's that share lately? And are you moving back to YouTube because there's better rev share?
Well, the commission structures have changed significantly because it's more expensive now for brands to work on TikTok because of the purchase and the transfer. There's also, they're utilizing AI, a program called GMV Max, which is basically a huge pool and a money pit for brands. And if they don't know how to do it right, then they're just going to dump money and have no conversions because they're not vetting their creators. They're relying on AI, and that is hurting their business.
Right. I mean, I think we're beginning to see a lot of the generic or stale or, as you say, if not the money pit, the void of the ether and the difficulty of focusing demographically. And when and we're a small company, Writers Boot Camp, and rely on consulting business and people signing up to write and learn a career, but for either the basic training or pro membership. But when we would advertise on social, the results were so hard to pinpoint. So is it true lately that creators are starting to see a lull or a dip in their income on most of the platforms? It seems like I'm hearing that.
Yes, in a way, yes. If they're not able to pivot like Madonna, then they're never going to make it, like I said. But
Right.
there, it's
So
also,
about creating, like the tip of the spear is what's Victoria Prince doing next?
it's more of if you don't have, if you're just an affiliate, and no shade to the affiliates because they're hard workers, then when a platform fizzles out, which is inevitable, no one knows how to find you. No one cares who you are. They don't know about your story. They don't know anything about you. If you're not posting organic content and sharing who you are and being vulnerable and showing up every day, then you're never going to build a brand. A personal brand is the most important aspect of being a creator. But as you know, one industry starts to fizzle out, such as TikTok Shop, I mean, it's not fizzling out. It's still working for the brands that are working it well. I'm seeing a shift in brands wanting to go back to whitelisting. So there's a lot of money there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to kind of tweak my content to target those brands and use the relationships that I've built on TikTok Shop to, hey, what are you doing on Meta? Or, hey, what are you doing on Shopify? Or Snapchat or Pinterest or wherever you run ads? I'm going to go with you. What do you want to do there? And every platform is different.
And so are you able to export your followers to an, an online but off-platform process or gathering? Because people, I know, especially people in their 20s, the Zoomer generation, who aren't necessarily, they have 30,000 unchecked emails because they also
Mhm.
know it doesn't represent business to them, as like when I receive an email or a colleague or a peer or an alum, that whether it's direct business or community oriented mission and collaboration in that way. So most emails then feel like spam, which is why people don't check. But is there a way for you to have your own platform so that if TikTok stops performing, you can still reach that audience?
My old advice used to be to build an email list when I was a coach years ago, because the average amount of time that someone has an email address is 13 years. The average amount of time that a platform thrives is 2.
Hmm. It's like
So,
owning a bar or restaurant in LA.
exactly.
Right.
So, nowadays, it has shifted from email because the way that the number one job that children want to have, their dream job now, is to be a creator, a YouTuber, a TikToker. That's the dream job now.
Wow.
So, also, email marketing used to be like the new thing, the new tech thing, the new AI, the new chat GPT. That was email marketing because people learned how to create these funnels. So everybody now knows email marketing to the point where we are oversaturated in our email, and the creator space is extremely oversaturated as well. So
Mm-hmm.
email marketing and creator marketing are only going to work if you have the right emails and if you have the right creators. Nowadays, all the top creators, they're no longer utilizing Discord chats where there's thousands of people with brands. Those are smaller affiliates, people who don't have the opportunities that we have. I don't have Discord on my phone, and I'm a coach that has a Discord channel. My agency runs that for me. You have to get my phone number. If you want to, and I think you know that personally as my friend, you could send me 3 emails and I'm probably not going to check or get them in a timely manner. But you can text me and I'm quick to respond because that's how a business needs to be run now. I don't have
Do,
time.
do you respond to DMs?
DMs on Instagram, yes. DMs on TikTok, no.
Okay. And then just while we've covered so much great ground in a short time, and it's worthwhile, but also incredibly fun and inspiring to talk to you at length. So thank you for doing this. Um, but you had posted something recently about don't worry about cringy content. Can you create a context for that, and can you let us know what you mean by that?
If you are afraid of being replaced by AI, you need to be human.
Okay.
The world is tired of seeing fake, polished get ready with me's. No one cares how you make your coffee, you stretching in the morning, walking through your living room. That was cool in the beginning because it was like, oh, we get to see people's behind the scenes, people's home. That's why MTV Cribs popped off because people want to see into your life. Everybody's a creep. And if you, if you can be authentic and tell your real life embarrassing stories and be vulnerable, AI could never be me online. It's never going to work. Even if someone had the best software in the whole wide world, they don't have the experience that I have dating in LA. No way.
Right.
They can't make you laugh the way that a creator can who's talking about, and excuse my language, but what to do if you accidentally shit your pants in public.
Oh my God.
That is the craziest video that's super viral right now because this guy is dead serious and it's a 4 minute video of him saying, okay, enter the stall and take your socks off so you don't soil them and then you can use them to clean up and throw them away.
Oh my God.
I will
Brilliant.
never forget that video, and AI could never. So the
Right.
the people who are living in that scarcity mindset, that are clinging to the platforms or resenting the platforms because they don't understand them.
But for example, that creator, that's not only an irreverent point of view, but he knows the value, but he can also carry it off. So again, not everybody is shameless. Not everybody is an entertainer in that pseudo. At least it. There's a difference between somebody's entertainment persona and how they really are. But there, with some people, their ideas and their voice and their speech is more connected to their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
At least it carries a transparency to it. And one of your strengths as a creator and a superstar that people follow and are interested in is your ability to speak about very challenging things, not only to let people into your life, but also to be honest to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
That authenticity can then be the distinction that creates the fresh entertainment that separates you as an artist. But you're also speaking and helping mentor new creators,
Mm-hmm.
and you're telling them how to find your voice, but you're also saying just post a lot
Mm-hmm.
and don't judge it so much.
Yep.
When somebody is experienced, they do have limitations because there's a certain awareness or a certain goal or a certain idealism that you don't want to you don't want to dip, you don't want to risk, right? And that makes it
Mhm.
more difficult. But so so just a few pieces of advice to people posting, to content creators, to aspirational individuals. And by the way, what is it like? Is 80% of your audience female?
More than, yeah.
And the men who follow you, they're trying to meet you?
Mm, not even because I don't create content for men. I
Okay.
think they're either fascinated or they've met me, or and it's not they don't follow me to be attracted to me because I don't post what they call thirst traps.
Okay.
But and that's a huge mistake that creators have made because the beginning of Instagram was polished, perfect models, booty cheeks out. Oh, that's the only way to get views and followers. And then guess what? The When I was a swimwear model, I did have 80% male following, and I couldn't sell bikinis on my Instagram because
They're
men
not
don't buy
funny.
bikinis. What do men buy? Not bikinis. So
Right.
I learned that the hard way, and I think that's the main thing. But advice for anyone in the industry, anyone, if you stay stuck, you will never be rich. If you stay stuck in a mindset or a pattern or a way of doing things, you will never be rich because you need to learn how to adapt and pivot and learn. Every single day, I learned something new about the platform that I'm on, about creating, about my audience, about myself. And you can't just get on there and do the same thing every day. That's what AI does. You can't do that. But the other thing is, perfectionism is the biggest killer. If you are taking a year to write a script, if you are taking a week to edit a video, the trend is gone. That topic is irrelevant. The joke is it has been told. And that's why if you watch Michael Jackson, the documentary, the new movie, I didn't even see it, but I heard about this because I do believe this myself. He woke up his entire team in the middle of the night because he said if we don't release this song then Prince will, because that's how they people believe that ideas pass through the ether and you can grab them or someone else is going to
The
do it.
collective consciousness, yeah.
Correct. And I do believe that because if I don't post the thing, and if and the other thing that I tell my students is walk into this, if you think that no one's going to watch or listen to your content or read your script or whatever, walk into the bottled water aisle on this at the store. How many of these people said, you know what, I'm going to bottle this water and I'm going to put it out? And they're all multi-billionaires. They bottled water that fell from the sky or came from a spring out of the ground. It wasn't, they didn't reinvent the wheel, but they had the confidence and the marketing strategy and the investment to actually make the thing happen. The same thing in art. Painters, eh, abstract paintings that sell for millions of dollars. And people look at it and say, well, I could have done that. Well, you didn't. And that's why you're broke.
By the way, if you want to create your second album, the next basic training is Tuesday, September 8th.
I think I'll be on a private jet that day, but thank you.
But Victoria, it's great to spend time with you. I'll see you soon. Where can people follow you best?
V Prince Music is my notorious username. My last piece of advice is when you create your username, make sure you like it because you can never change it. People will
Right.
always be able to find you for 20 years and on.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your time today. We'll see you soon. We just leave this open for a minute because Riverside has to upload.
Okay.
So don't shut down your computer, but you can sign off however you can.
Okay. Sounds good.
But thanks everybody. We'll see you soon. We've got more Creative Currency interviews coming up.
All right. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Okay, bye bye.